friends. This is Timothy Chemo Bryant, your head instigator for Create Art Podcast, where I use my 30 years of experience in the arts and education world to help you tame your inner critic and create more than you consume. So, back in 2022, during the holiday season, my wife gave me this deck of cards, and they're called Kickstart Creativity. They're by Bonnie Smith Whitehouse, and yes, the links will be in the show notes for you on that. But what they do is they provide you with one idea, kind of fleshed out in a couple different ways in these cards. So there's perception cards, and there are action cards, which is what we're working on today. And there's intention cards. And we've done all the perception and intention cards in the deck already this year. And as I'm recording this here in October of 2023, we've only got a little bit more time because in November, I just wanted to let you know that I'm working on a novel. So I'll be doing National Novel Writing Month, National Podcast Post Month. So I'm still deciding whether I'm going to be posting every day or just posting once a week and doing it that way. I'm leaning towards the once a week because then I can sit here with you every Sunday instead of sitting here with you every day. I love you all. Remember that. I definitely like hanging out with you. However, I have a full time job that I do right over here. And I have a full time family that are right upstairs right now that just woke up on Sunday morning. So I do I do enjoy spending time with them. As a matter of fact, we had a wonderful time yesterday afternoon. We were all just kind of sitting and reading. I had on some free jazz playing in the background, lowly. And I was reading a Seth Godin book. My girls were like, "Oh, that's a podcasting book. It's so boring." "Hi, I'm Papa. I read boring podcasting books." It's not a podcasting book. It's called Song of Significance, and I'm getting a lot out of it. But I enjoy those times. I really do, and I hope you have something similar in your life that provides you with that enjoyment in your life. But my wife got me these cards. Back to my wife. It's always back to my wife. My wife got me these cards, and I was thinking, oh my God, am I not the head instigator for Create Art Podcast? Do I not provide you with enough, inspiration and enlightenment and encouragement? And after I started reading through these cards, I was like, I need to do these once a week. That will be my thing for 2023. And it is, I'll tell you, it's a light lift. It is not that difficult to do. The episodes pretty much do themselves because these cards, if you're watching me on YouTube, these cards are just, they come out of the 70s. I love them. But on the back of the cards, shall we say, is the topic that the card discusses, and then at the bottom, down here at the bottom, too much glare, but it gives a what I call the kernel of knowledge. So if you miss everything about the card, you go right there, and you'll get what the card is about. So the kernel of knowledge today is emancipate. Follow a stream of consciousness and keep a record of your awareness. And initially, I had a little bit of a hard time with this because I was like, oh God, it's going to get a little bit woo woo. People are going to, they're going to talk about surrealism and, how anything weird is surrealist. No, surrealism was really, talking about the consciousness or the unconsciousness, actually, and bringing that into the conscious world. And so when I, hear people go, oh, well, we're just going to, don't do a little stream of consciousness here, they're looking for something weird. And your unconscious may not be that weird. It doesn't have to be that weird. Mine is, but that's just because I'm weird. And well, you're listening to me, so obviously you were weird too. But one of the things I like to do with all of these cards is I like to go and find the definitions. And I know when, I was getting into art and I was getting into academia, people would throw out words and I didn't understand what they were saying. And, and when I would ask them, I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? And they would use the word in the definition. I'm like, no, 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 no. That's not how you define a word. What do you mean by what you're saying there? Explain it to me like I'm a fourth grader. And they couldn't. And that to me is, if somebody can't break it down for you in simple terms, they don't get it. Train the trainer. Um, really get into what it is that you're talking about. So I like to go to Cambridge Dictionary, and that's something I've found. I know dictionaries, right? Yeah, exactly. But we got spell check. Yeah, we got spell check all over the place. But you actually go to a dictionary. Okay. Yes, I went to the online version of Cambridge Dictionary. So there you go. But emancipate to the Cambridge Dictionary is to give people social or political freedom and rights, to free a person from another person's control. I would extend that one bit. I would extend that to free yourself from your own control that you've put on yourself. Not, go out and drink everything and have sex with everybody, and that's not what I'm talking about. We put controls on ourselves. That's that inner critic getting too much of our time and our attention. And when we allow that to happen, we're in we're in deep trouble, because how could you free yourself from yourself, emancipate yourself from yourself? I give you permission to do that. There are some things that are not beneficial to us. There are certain restrictions that we put on ourselves that aren't doing service to our audience or to ourselves or to our art. And if they are not servicing us in a positive way, it's time to at least take a look at them. If not, get rid of them. I know for me, earlier I said woo woo, and of course I'm going to go do a woo woo thing by attending a meditation workshop for 2 hours. Not this coming Saturday, but I think the next Saturday. It's by a guy named Yogi Brian. He cusses like a sailor, and he's the kind of guy that I would sit and have a great cup of coffee with, and then we'd sit and meditate, and probably laugh the whole time, and tell dirty jokes and all that kind of stuff. But he's I've discovered him. He's been discovered. He was discovered a long time ago, but in my life I found him, and I'm trying to let go of some of those things that, or explore why I put those restrictions on myself, and explore and see if they're any good or not, and see if I need to impose different restrictions on myself. So that's what I'm doing to. When I hear emancipate, I think of um, the Matrix, uh, Morpheus going, "Free your mind," and everybody in the movie theater saying, "And your ass will follow." Lawrence Fishburne, thank you so much for all the many, many years of greatness. But yeah, giving, emancipating other people through your art, you can do that. If there's a specific cause um, that you want to bring attention to, and to emancipate people from the impositions. Impositions is a light word. Um, from the trampling of their freedoms and their rights. That is legitimate art. Political art is legitimate art. So Yes, you have my permission to do that. If you need my permission, you got it. Go do it. I'd love to see it. So give yourself and give others social and political freedom and rights to do what they feel is right, to free us from another person's control. So on the back of these cards, the definition is something that I added on to it. I For me, I need those words defined. I need these words defined clearly, so that way I know what I'm talking about when I talk to you about them. So on the back of these cards, about a paragraph of further fleshing out the ideas. Most of us have inner sensors. And voices that tell us not to say, think, or notice this or that. Tell that inner sensor to hush, and for a set amount of time, follow the stream of your consciousness. Your only goal is to produce raw material. Some of the material you produce may be usable, some may not, may be cast aside. Form a body of material, a page, a sketch, a recording, simply by following the slipstream of your mind. So, as I said earlier, November is National Novel Writing Month. And, I started that back in 2017. I actually started it back way before 2017. I was in Chicago at the time. I want to say it was, well, I left Rockford in 2018 and 2008. So it might have been 9 or 10 when I first started doing National Novel Writing Month and National Poetry Writing Month. And, the challenge was, to write a 50,000 word novel. And I was like, I can't do that. I'll have a interview that I did coming out later on this week, and where for the longest time, and still to this day, large canvases scare me. I'm like, how dare I think I can fill a large canvas? You know, a sheet of paper, a regular sheet of paper, 8.5 by 11. That's usually about as big as I go. And there's a piece right behind me here that is a few of those put together, in a interesting pattern. And so I cheated and did it that way, but I never thought I could write a novel, and now I've been doing it steady since 2017. I think 2020 or 2021 I skipped it, um, but since 2017 I've been fairly consistent with it, and I'm already starting with it now. I've learned a lot of lessons from doing it. So right now I am setting myself up. In years past, I would set up the website. Focus more on the website and what that would look like in that template than the actual writing or preparing to write. Right now, I've got about 2 pages of just notes that I need to go through. Where's the starting? What do I want the audience to get out of it? Who are the main characters? Where are we starting the action? Where are certain plot points going to be? So that's what I'm doing right now. And part of that is in my other podcast, Find a Podcast About. I interviewed. Um, I was interviewed by, and I interviewed the folks at Writers Drinking Coffee, which is another fantastic podcast. You should go listen to it. When you're done with this one, go listen to that one. So that's your Sunday morning thing. And if you're listening to this on Monday or Tuesday, doesn't matter. Go do that. That's your assignment. Ha. But for the longest time, I couldn't do that. I had that thing in my head saying, yeah, you can't do this. When I first started writing poetry, it had to be 4-line stanzas, 4 lines into a stanza, 4 stanzas long. Every poem had to be that. And then I bumped into, bumped into my microphone. I bumped into some folks at Espresso Europa in Abilene, Texas. It's no longer open, but it was a great coffee shop. And they showed me, surrealism and avant-garde, and in Abilene, Texas, of all places, go figure. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a bedroom community now. So, but good old Abilene. So, I guess for me, it's that internal thing that I need to release. I need to stop thinking, oh, it has to be done a certain way. It doesn't have to be done a certain way. Things can be done differently. And that doesn't mean that they're any less valid. So challenge yourself, find different ways to do things, and allow yourself to do that. So we're going to move on to the challenges that are in each and every card. And these cards are if you are just a single artist doing your stuff, or if you belong to a group. So some of the wording in here is going to be very inclusive. So the first challenge is alone or with your collaborators. Set aside time, say 7 minutes, to do nothing but follow the stream of your consciousness. Speak into a recording device, draw or write whatever comes to mind without censoring or editing yourself. So I have an app on my phone, and it's a sketching challenge app, and they provide a word of the day, and then you sketch to that. And I've been doing that, and there's people on there that are fantastic. They do sketches, fantastic. There's me that I do stick figures really interestingly, uh, different levels, and it's all okay. And I was surprised that people were liking my stuff. I was like, I was looking at other people's stuff and liking theirs and commenting on theirs and going, yeah, that's fantastic. I see that. That's really cool. I like how you stretched the idea of whatever the word was. But then people were liking mine too, and I was like, okay, cool. So it's breaking that. Well, I'm from the Midwest, so we have a certain way about us that we're shucks. Oh gosh, not me. No, 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 not me. I'm not that special. We have that way about us, and I'm learning to lose that. Living here in Virginia, and it doesn't really do me any good. That aw shucks thing. Take the compliment. You know, make space for yourself, and that's what I'm doing. I'm making space for myself, doing the podcast as a video. I did an interview via video yesterday, and it was fantastic. It was great. And um, when I first started podcasting, no, I don't want to show my face. After years of podcasting, yeah, no, I don't want to show my face. And now I'm like, I kind of like what you and I have here on YouTube. Uh, if you're listening to me on audio, that's fine too. I like what we have there. But if you're watching me on YouTube, this is me. This is, wrinkles and bags under my eyes and rosacea on my face and not shaven, a little bit tired. But this is me. This is what you get. And if you like it, fantastic. If you don't, there's other channels you can go to. But there's nothing like this on YouTube. Nothing. There are things that are similar to this, but there is nothing like this on YouTube because this is what I am providing. This is my art. The second challenge is explore Buddhist teachings about consciousness, meditation, and the mind. Got a bunch of books back there. I do it. I'm more of a Taoist myself. I like Taoism better than Buddhism, um, but it's really getting into that consciousness. It's really getting into your head and figuring out what makes it tick. I am getting into meditation. So, like I said, in about a week or so, I'll be doing a meditation workshop for a couple hours. I'm like, for a couple of hours? Oh my God. Can I do it? We'll see. But explore that. Give that a shot for yourself. See if that works. If it doesn't, no harm, no foul. Great. Then the last challenge is what might you learn about yourself and the work you create when you regard your thoughts as a flowing stream or river. And usually when I hear a stream of consciousness, I see people just, go all over the place. Blah, 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 blah. And and it doesn't do it for me, shall we say. It doesn't really do it for me. But when I think of what I do and how I write a poem or how I paint a picture or how I do a diamond painting, which I'm behind on doing my diamond painting for my wife, I apologize. But I can see how it is like a stream, like a river. Although I'm a fire sign, I'm a Sagittarius, I'm a fire sign. Um, but I can see how my work is just just adding that in there is, why did Tim add that in there? Anytime I do the tarot deck on myself, it's Two of Swords that identifies me. If you know what that is, if you know, you know. Um, but yeah, I can see I need my stream of consciousness to be a little bit more ordered, to follow a path instead of going this way and that way and this way and that way. Although I do like that in music, in painting, um, but for writing, for me, the writing that I enjoy, I need boom, boom, boom. I need A, B, C, and D. I need to be led somewhere. And on occasion, I like reading stuff that I don't know where it's going to lead me to. And it produces a little bit of anxiety in me. So, and writing novels definitely produces anxiety in me. So that's why you may not see me every day in November, but yeah, I promise you this: you will see me once a week at the very least, talking about the novel and where it's at, and reading excerpts of the novel to you. I don't think this year I'm going to read the whole novel off, but I'll let you know where I'm at with it and read excerpts from it that I think are really important, give you all the stats and all that stuff. So we'll do that. But I also want you to buy the novel too. So we'll tease it to you. We'll tease it very much so. All right. A couple things I want to leave you with, a couple of points I want to leave you with. And the first one is cultivating self compassion. Have compassion for yourself. That will really free you from a lot of the things that are holding you back. And you may be saying to yourself, Tim, I don't have anything holding me back. Well, how about the whole, I don't have any ideas? If we delve into that, we go, I don't have any good ideas. You have ideas. Let's bring them out. They are, we don't allow our kids to call each other stupid. We're like, no, don't call me stupid. Don't call your mom stupid. Don't call yourselves stupid. No, because that's something that was, enforced into us, from our parents. So we don't let that negativity do that, because there's enough out there in the world. If you allow it, there's enough out there in the world that will just destroy you, and you don't need that. Embrace vulnerability. That's a scary one. That's something I'm still working on. But with the self compassion, with, hey, I am here at this point. I would like to be at this point, and thinking of myself as, I'm a healthy person. I do this. This is what healthy people do. And realizing, you know what? Yes, this is what healthy people do. And sometimes I'm going to fail. This is what an artist does. This is what, in my mind, an artist does. And sometimes I'm going to fail at that. And you know what? It's okay. I'm going to give it a shot, which runs right into breaking free from perfectionism. It doesn't have to be perfect the first time out. Chris Mistos, he runs the Podfest thing. He has a book out saying, Starting Ugly. Just get it out there. You'll fix it. Just get it out there, because if you don't get it out there, there's nothing to fix. If you don't get it out there, there's nothing to fix. And fixing it is half the fun. G.I. Joe. Sorry. Went back to the 80s cartoons. Experiment and explore. Okay, so I'm going to be experimenting with meditation. I'm always exploring. I'm always reading something new. I'm always looking at something new, and that's what I love doing. Is trying new things out. If it doesn't work, great. It'll end up on my wall. Fantastic. If it does work, it might end up as an episode here on Create Art Podcast. But always try something new. Always try something new. Side note on that. So for the music that I do for the show, I use Magix, Magix. It is a loop, and it has a lot of loops in there. It's a digital audio workstation, and I've used that for years and years, decades. I would say almost 20 years I've been using that, and I wasn't happy with it because it was locking up my computer and making it go real slow. So in the background, I've been looking at other DAWs, and I think I have come upon the one that I really like. That does it's a similar format and a similar style. It just doesn't lock up my computer as much. So I think I'm going to try that one out and do more music and with that, and put more music behind the work that I'm doing. So we'll see. Collaborate and connect. So that's what I'm doing here with you. I want to collaborate with you. I want to see what you're doing. I want you to see what I'm doing. And I know in 2024, you're going to see a lot more of my projects, of what I'm doing. Right now, you're seeing basically the poetry and the novel writing, but there's other things I do, which is music, painting, drawing, and on occasion acting. I do a lot of voice acting for other people's shows. I got a good kudos from my good friend York Campbell from he used to be Poetic Earthlings. Then he changed it over to Welcome Earth Stories, and now he has experimental stories that he's doing. So I love collaborating and connecting with him because he's a very generous person. And when you do a voiceover for him, you get a shout out on his show. And so I always want to make sure that I'm shouting him out and promoting him. And one day I'll get to meet up with him. I have again a episode coming out this week on Wednesday of this week, which is today is the 8th, 9th, 10th, the 11th, October the 11th, where I'm talking with Greg Coots, and he is a abstract artist out in the West Coast. I have a interview that I'm having with a 16-year-old kid that has 3 or 4 novels out. I'm like, what am I going to talk to a 16-year-old kid about? But give it a shot, see what's going to happen. We're going to do a pre-interview, and then later on we'll do the interview. I have another interview coming up with a travel photographer, a worldwide and world-renowned travel photographer, and we're going to talk about his new book coming out. I have a number of interviews that I've done on this show where I've talked and reached out to people that have something to say. So stay tuned in this space. So we've come to that time in the show where I'm going to let you get on with your day. And I want to thank you so much for the time that you have spent with me today. I really do appreciate it. Couple of things before I let you go on the rest of your day is that I do have a newsletter that I do put out once a month. It's the Create Art Podcast newsletter, and you can find that at Timothy Bryan, TimothyBrien.substack.com. And it's just a thing that I do that gives you some ideas for the month as to some projects you may want to do for yourself, and it tells you what I've been doing this month. Interviews, podcast episodes. If I've talked anywhere, I'll let you know about the meetup that I do once a month here in Fredericksburg, Virginia. So, it expands on more of those ideas. So the links are in the show notes, or you can go straight to that website if you'd like to. If you'd like to reach out to me, I'm not going to bite your fingers off too much. might bite them a little bit off. But no, if you want to reach out to me, I would really appreciate that. And anytime I can get some interaction with you is time well spent for me. How do you do that? You're asking. Well, I'm glad you asked. Timothy at createartpodcast.com is the place where you can send me your emails, and be more than happy to talk with you about projects that you're working on. Let me know what you're doing in your neck of the woods. Hey, maybe you want to be on the show. Maybe you're like, hey, Tim, I've been listening to you for X amount of times. You too can be on the show if you'd like to. If you want to sit and talk to me, we can do it video, we can do it just audio, however you like. I do know that there's a group of you out in Romania that are listening to me, so I would love to have somebody from that Romanian contingent shoot me an email. By all means, love to know what's going on in Romania, because I don't know anybody in Romania, but I know you obviously because you're listening to it in Romania. Spain is another group of people that are out there. The UK, they're out there listening to me as well. In the UK, feel again, Timothy at createartpodcast.com. Feel free, reach out to me. My Canadian people, my Canadians, I see you every month. I see you on my stat sheet. Feel free. I mean, I know York is Canadian, and Ashton Rodenhauser is Canadian, and my voiceover person. Oh God, I'm embarrassed. I'm so sorry, but you know who you are, and you have a fantastic podcast. And I know on occasion you listen to mine. So uh, shoot me an email. Let me know that you're listening. Let me know what you like. Obviously, if you're on YouTube, I'm here on YouTube. You got here, fantastic, good for you. If you're listening on, if you're just listening in podcast world and the audio only world, get onto my website and you'll be able to link into the YouTube channel. I'm also on Instagram and X, otherwise known as Twitter and Facebook. So all that is in the show notes if you want to connect with me there as well. Now, if you found this podcast of any value whatsoever, and reach out to me. I don't need ratings. Review it if you would like to. I do appreciate that. But reach out to me. I'd rather you email me, and that way we can have a conversation that way. A nice private conversation that way. But if you throw a review, fantastic. I'll reply to the review. If I see it, I'll reply to it. Absolutely. Um, Feel free to share it with a friend. If you have a friend that's an artist that you're like, hey, you need to emancipate. You need to, free your mind, and your art will follow. Fantastic. Give it to that friend. Not a problem. There's links in the show notes that you can, shoot it off to your friend, or if you're listening to it as a podcast, there's a share button, I'm sure, in your podcast app, and share it with a friend. Or again, YouTube, you can share the YouTube video with a friend. I do it all the time with my friends. Um, Here's the thing. I do want this to be a 5-star podcast for you. So whatever that is going to be, if I haven't hit that 5 stars for you, let me know. What is that for you? Is it too long? Is it too short? Do I say too much? Do I need to put on some blush, to match the rosacea? Do I need to do something about the bags underneath my eyes? Do I need to tell you who did my tattoos? Ashley. Uh, I'd be happy to do that. Reach out to me and do that. Speaking about sharing podcasts with friends, I also run a podcast called Find a Podcast About. Oh my God, it's so easy. I title these things so easily so you know exactly what you're getting into. And that's where I let you know about podcasts that I listen to that I really enjoy. And I break it down for you. I mean, it's not, this podcast is great. No, I really break it down for you. The show is done in 3 parts. It's done in 3 halves. Big Car Talk fan. If you know, you know. You can find that podcast at findapodcastabout.xyz. All one word. Find a podcast about. xyz. And that's where I help you outsmart that algorithm and find your next binge-worthy podcast. I'm halfway through season 2 right now with that, and a little bit. It's a little bit slow. It's going a little bit slow, but I'm not going to worry about that too much. I enjoy it, and those episodes will get done when they get done, and that's how I do it. All right. Well, it is time for me to have you get on with your day. I'm going to get on with mine. I have a beautiful pita sandwich with spicy falafel, so my butt will be, as Yogi Brian says, my butt cheeks will be flapping away. Anyhow, I've really enjoyed our time here together. Emancipate yourself from yourself. That's usually the biggest issue. But until next time, go out there and tame that inner critic. Create more than you consume. Go out there and make some art for somebody you love, yourself. I'll talk to you next time.